come in, the men see that too. They see that they are not loved, appreciated, and respected, and they see that even in their relationship and their marriage that they're not. And I clearly think women, American women, do not see marriage as worth the investment. No.
Okay. So, Kale, do you think that for American women, marriage is worth the investment? Do you think that it's a noteworthy investment for women?
I think it's a noteworthy investment for marriage
For
if
men.
you marry the right person. That's what it all comes down to. That's the real investment. The marriage is nothing without the two people that married together that invest in each other. That's the investment for me. I mean, right?
So he, in his mindset, it's based on the person the woman marries. Essentially,
Right.
I think that's an interesting consideration, because essentially we do, if we marry the right way, right,
Hmm.
or if we marry with the intention of building, right, and the person that we've married is a great person for us to build with, if there is compatibility there, I do think it becomes worth the investment. But I think that when people marry and then they don't see a person, they don't see what they expected. Okay.
Yeah. That too.
If they don't see that their investment or their expectation of said investment is worth it, they don't think that the person they picked is
Hmm.
worthy. I don't think that people will show up. I don't think they'll show up as their authentic self. And I don't think that they will continue to invest in the process of building, because they don't see the potential for a return. You see
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
think that
Modern
now,
day dating marriage right there. People have a time for things like investment take time.
right.
People you got 10 or 15, 20 like your investment. It takes 20 years for your return.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing in life. It takes 20 years for your marriage to be gotta go.
You think so?
To
Woo!
fully run
What
it.
did he say?
He said take 20. He said take 20.
It
Man.
takes.
I heard him.
Oh no! Wait, I missed that. What did he say? It takes what?
Yeah.
He said take 20 years for your marriage to get somewhere. Shit.
Yeah.
Those first few years is critical. Are you kidding me? those
You know,
first, that
He
first
said
year,
it takes
those first
20
3
years.
years, 7 years.
I'll say the first. I'll say the first 5 to 7. Shoot, he said forget that 20.
Yeah. I
No,
say the
you're
first
not
five
even
to
at
seven.
20.
We talking about
You
the
just
seed. So he's
you just
saying to
give
see
up.
the full investment of your return.
like you invest in your IRA, your bank account, whatever. It takes a while for things to cash in.
Okay.
7
I'm
years.
okay with my bank account maturing over the course of that time and not giving me my full, you know, for the withdrawal. But I'm not okay. I'm not okay with my marriage taking so much slow progress that in 20 years we just not looking like, I do
20
think
years.
I married well.
To see the full potential of it takes about that long.
Shit. If I don't see the full potential in 5 years,
5
there
years.
won't be a 10. If I don't see it in 10 years, there definitely won't be a
I
15.
mean, the interval
That's right.
be 5, 10.
I'm reassessing.
That's how you get there.
I believe in divorce. Hold on.
Yep, I do too.
Okay, Urban. But
But
I think,
we kind of marry the person we think that we never, a lot of the times we marry this person who we have this belief that they are what we think they are, and as the marriage go on, we realize that we had on rose colored glasses all along. That's
for
sometimes
me,
disappointing.
so for me, I think the way that I think, right? Hey, Selena, how are you? I marry potential. I believe in marrying potential. Okay. I have 4 adult daughters. I want my daughters to marry the potential of the man that they're marrying. I want them to pair themselves to a man or a woman, if they choose to pair themselves with a woman who has the potential exponentially to add value to them over time. I want them to invest in love. I want them to invest in empowerment and growth and prosperity. I want all of that, right? Because
Mhm.
that's the way I marry. That's the way that I think. That's my mindset around alignment. You know what I mean? I don't want to be halfway in and halfway out where I'm thinking and considering divorce in 3 to 5, right? 3 to 5, like we're doing jail time. But still, that is the way that I think. I think that marriage becomes worth the investment when you can see what you are investing in within 3 years, maturing a little bit. You can see a little growth because if you marry the potential of a person, because here's the reality: if people are getting married young, and I married young, okay, I'll come from the mindset what most people consider traditional mindset, where you don't have sex until you marry, and it's just the understanding. It ain't that you gotta. It ain't hard to even doing it because you ain't even thinking about it, right?
Right.
So my thing is, while I don't believe that that's true for modern day women, and I don't think that they come from that belief system, I do heavily believe that we still marry what we hope our partners can achieve with us.
Absolutely.
We marry an idea. So what do you guys think? You guys let me know whether you guys think marriage is worth the investment for modern day women. And hopefully you're doing well, Selena. Welcome to the show. We do appreciate you viewing. So tell me what you guys think. So you say it's worth the investment if she gonna wait for 20 years.
Years. People 2 or 3 and 20 years. That's how your marriage gonna be. A big full-grown blossoming, ever-loving tree.
Well, my garden blossoms within the season I plant the seeds.
Oh no, you've got some plants now blossom in 3 years.
Yeah, I got some that didn't. You know, I've learned a little patience, but they still ain't take 20 years. They gave me a return before 3.
Patience is investment. Never invest in patience. That's it. It's patient to watch that thing grow 5 years bigger, 10 years bigger.
Yeah, so watching it grow. So it's gonna show me some growth in 2 years.
I'll show you growth every year.
Oh, okay, good.
Not that 20 years, show you growth every year. 20 years
well,
is full grown then. You're married full grown.
Yeah, it's gonna be full grown and
before 20 years we said they would have gone into that though.
Yeah. I guess. Okay.
Well, 40 years, 50 years.
Well, that's because they saw growth before 20 years.
No, he
said how you think people stay together 40 to 60 years. No. But seriously, I don't know. I think that marriage becomes worth the investment when we look at the other person that we've married and we see that they're pouring into our relationship in the same way or sometimes more than what we find ourselves pouring into our relationship. I think that's essentially that's what it's about.
I'm ready to give you my list.
You ready? We're almost there. Oh, we're almost there. Why you playing?
Okay, right about now.
Okay.
Y'all black women.
So we're at this point where we talk about what's on our list. So we'll start with Kale since he's already ready. Not my list.
Nah.
Where's the woman? Is there someone else on? Who is that? Cal? Is that picture of Cal?
That's somebody else.
Who's okay?
There's
somebody's on.
Urban.
Is that him? Okay.
Yeah.
He's got okay.
So we'll go with Kale first. Here, take the mic. You'll have to hold it.
Okay. Can everybody hear me out there?
Yeah, still
can hear you.
What's the topic again? Right?
Sorry about you guys.
So the list is what? What? Let's tell people what is the list on.
Okay, so as we have discussed that this show is about, just like we had the show on Tuesday where we explored a couple of things that we would like to see in men shape up. Men, the 5 things that we would like for men to stop doing or begin doing. We need, in 2024 immediately, so that we can come together, okay, and collaboratively create a more productive subculture of Black America. This list now targets the things that we've identified are definite things that we would like to see Black women now take accountability for, show up differently in certain ways, and stop doing or begin doing in the year of 2020 right now, 2024. Okay, so this is what's on Kale's list. Kale's, explain to us whether or not you're picking things you want women to start doing or to stop doing.
It may be a list of a kind of combination of both. Okay,
start with the stop doing.
Okay. All right. I don't have 5 and 5, but I got 5.
Okay.
Okay, I got stopped. Okay, my first stop being so controlling, and so not being so never satisfied.
Okay.
And my second stop trying to be so right all the time.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And this one right here, stop being so verbally abusive.
Okay.
Okay.
Then my start dressing more appropriately, so you won't get unwarranted people looking at you or doing things you don't feel appropriate. When you look like that, they gonna come to you like that.
Okay.
And I got this: support your man and stop putting them down.
So it's kind of like a twofer. Well,
Yeah.
6. Okay.
And
Mhm.
So
uh,
let's run it down again.
I
You
got
said
another one now.
okay.
And be
Okay.
more responsive to your kids in public.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I got the last one: bring back real motherhood.
So that's about 8.
9.
Right?
That's my list.
Clock at 9. So women, you guys got Kale's list. So you want to go, Sue, or you want me to
Okay.
go? Okay.
So I say stop emasculating men. Men are not punching bags. If a man says or does something in your interaction with him that doesn't feel okay, doesn't sound okay, you have a right to say so. You don't really have a right to tell him he's not a man, you're not good in bed, you suck, you blah blah blah, I make more money than you know, the whole you're not a good father, you're not a good dad. That's actually really abusive. It's
So speaking
un-
her truth, if he sucks in bed, she's supposed to keep it to herself. We want to go back to
No, 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 no,
today's
no. It doesn't come in when you are arguing with him because he says or did
Okay, so
something
you
you
do
don't
have a
like.
right to have the discussion. Just don't say it
Uh,
when you're arguing.
Because
So,
when you say it when you're
Don't use it
angry,
as a weapon of
it's
choice.
malicious. It's designed to hurt. You are hurt, so
Right.
you want him to
Don't
feel how
weaponize
you
those
feel.
words.
So you're gonna say the kind of things that will make him feel as hurt as you do. That's not okay.
that's true.
My second one is dress appropriately. You don't have to hang everything out to be sexy. Actually, the more you cover up, and you can
The
put
more
on,
it's left to suggestion.
yeah, but the more you cover, and you can have it a little close on you, like tight stuff, but the more you cover up, the sexier you look. I think so. And I think some men might agree. Because the more you hang out those private parts, I think the more you will hear stuff like you cheap, she's easy, that kind of stuff. Men will approach you, and maybe that's what you want. But their approach is not the intent to get to know you, but to maybe be sexually involved with you. Dress appropriately. Um, Learn to support women instead of tearing one another down. Really, I think we talked about this earlier in terms of the sisterhood.
Mhm.
It's support your friend when she's doing stuff. But tell her, it's really okay to tell your girlfriend, I love you today. It's you look really great. I'm sorry you're going through whatever you're going through. It's okay to say that stuff. I mean it, but it's not okay to say stuff like that, but then goes behind her back with another friend and say other things. That's really not okay. I mean, what are you doing? So that's what. What am I on number 3? Stop trying to be right all the time. And you're absolutely right, Kel. At the level of control doesn't have to happen. You control you. You can't control anybody else. When you're trying to control somebody else, you clearly out of control. Stop trying to be right. Stop trying to control folks. Let people be who they are. People are people. You can't change people. You can't fix people. You just have to be able to set limits and set boundaries when they do stuff that doesn't feel when they're trying to cross your boundaries. It's okay to set a limit. You don't have to try to control folks. Let's see. What's that?
So
3?
I would
Mhm.
say expand on that, but I got that on my list, so I'll expand on it.
Well, but the boundaries are important because you've got to be able to let people know how far they can go with you, right? In terms of how they say and do stuff. But you don't have to try to control people in terms of telling them it's not okay to do this, it's not okay to say. You have to allow people to be who they are, and I think sometimes, not sometimes, but if you allow people to be who they are, they may be able to.
be away from
more
you.
respectful. And they might be. What did you say?
Be away from you.
Well, then you make that decision if he or she is
Well, he or
really.
she, if they cross your boundaries, but that's on my list. I'll
Yeah, you
explore
know if they
because
are, you
that's
you
a
make
point of
decisions.
contention,
You
right?
can
For
make
many
decisions about
people.
whether they need to continue to be in your circle.
Hmm.
Right. Let's see. Get to know yourself in a way that allows you to value personal view of self over the outside perspective of you. You are beautiful, wonderful, caring just the way you are. You don't have to identify who you are based on what people say about you. You need to love yourself such that you can stand any way you are, deal with disappointments, deal with whatever that's going on for you, and still feel okay about yourself. You matter. You know, you are the way you are, the way God created you, there's no other you. So what is important for you to know is that you are your own universe. You are important. People's expectation, the things people say about you is just their opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So your self-esteem should not be tied to how people describe you, what people say about you. They're entitled to do that. They could say whatever they want. That doesn't mean it's true. You don't have to believe their perception. Because if you know you okay, if you are spiritually connected to a God of your understanding, people can't hurt your feelings. You know that old saying about sticks and stones may break my bones? Well, spiritually, if you're spiritually connected, the woods wouldn't hurt you. So those are my five.
Okay, so Urban is gonna have to leave, and I'm gonna encourage him to type his responses or his list
Hmm.
if he gets the opportunity to while he's offline into the chat, so that we're still able to see kind of what the things are that he's come up with because we all kind of did our due diligence, did come up with our things that are
Hmm.
on our list separately in between the last show.
And we
Hey,
want it's important for him to
Constance.
share. Hmm.
I think I remember Constance's name as well, though. How are you? But so, also in the chat, you guys go ahead and start typing up the list of things that you feel like women need to either start doing in 2024 or stop doing in order to continue the legacy of the subculture of Black America, in your opinion. Definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. So let's go to
You're five.
my list. Let's see, where am I? Here I am. Okay. Okay. So my list is, well, gosh, it's small, you guys.
Can you make that bigger?
Okay, so the first thing that I think that women need to divest from is living without boundaries in an attempt to even the score with men. Because what I see is many women do not have boundaries, and they'll do whatever it takes for them to create a space where they can now say men do it, or men did it, or he did it. Nobody else said that I needed to have a shirt on until men said I needed to have a shirt. Nobody said I needed to have a bra on until men started saying if I dress like this, then that's what this does. Right? So they see those things as oppressive components, and then they're fighting that idea with and justifying their being out here braless, revealing everything with the fact of feminist movement. Says that women have the right to. This is my body. Just because I dress like this, you don't have the right to look at me, judge me, touch me.
That kind of like the same thing you're saying, like men, like that's like women, so women, so they do it now too. So it's like doing the same thing.
All of it is the same. So even in the score,
you trouble to unify the Black family from the inside out, like by doing that. So it creates the whole system of their functionality. In the end, it just
right?
does,
Yeah, I do believe that. I feel like if you are, even if you're doing what you're doing, and you're living a boundless life, you're not setting boundaries, and we spoke to that with Susanna's comment. The thing is, I see in this society of people is a tremendous amount of people who will refuse to take accountability. The women oftentimes do not have boundaries, and they don't have these boundaries because men have invalidated their having boundaries previously and telling them that, okay, if you're doing this, you're being a narcissist. If you're doing this, you're being controlling. If you're doing this, you're trying to change me. Some of the things that both of you spoke to be honest. The reality is a woman with boundaries is not trying to control you. She's taking control of her circumstances and her outcomes in life. If a woman has boundaries don't align with what you do in your life, move on. Move on. Keep your comments to yourself. You don't have to tell her how it is that she's a bad person. You don't have to tell her like that she ain't all that anyway. You don't have to tell her any of those negative things because at the end of the day, it does not matter. None of those things matter because her boundaries are still her boundaries. And if you're not qualified, unseat yourself, sir. Bye. It's okay for you to listen and see that a woman has boundaries. And women, it's okay for you to have boundaries. Do not allow a man in his toxic masculinity to move you off your square. Be intentional about how you do in your life, how you move in your life, how you plan in your life, how you groove in your life. So if you want to have sex with whomever you want to have sex with, it's your body, it's your choice. You can do what you want to do. But you don't have to publicize all of that. You don't have to go out there and be in direct competition with a man. Satisfying your urges is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that you're a bad person because you're having sex with multiple people or dating multiple people. What I'm asking for is a little bit more transparency for you guys to be careful out there and to be responsible with your reproductive health. So utilize protection. Don't leave it on the man. I know that Susanna is of the mindset of thinking the man needs to take some responsibility in the reproduction component. I think women are 100% the ones in control of that. Women always deny men rights when it comes to deciding whether or not they keep a pregnancy. So I think it's on women to take care of the reproductive responsibility and decide to use a condom. Force a man to use a condom because you're not only advocating for the negation of reproduction, but you're also advocating for your physical health because the reality is we live in a society where sex is a casual thing. Like walking to the damn grocery store. I'm all right with it if you are right with it. Let's get naked. We know our parts before we know the people and their persona. However, you have to do so responsibly because it says that you value yourself. And the amount of respect that you have for yourself and the boundaries you have for yourself are not because somebody else said this or did that, but it's because you defined yourself to be this person. You wanted this thing for yourself. So that's why I feel like it's really important that women stop living boundless and stop trying to even the score with men. The next one that's on my list is women need to stop invalidating men that do not bend to their will. Because here's the reality. Just like I said, men need to stop doing that. This is not a game of tit for tat. Because a person is not your cup of tea doesn't mean that you have to call them anything but a child of God and bid them adieu. If a man does not do what you need him to do, walk away. Because I believe in showing people with my action the impact of the value that I have for myself. And I think that young women need to be reminded of that sometimes. It's important that your actions show that you're intolerant, that you're not constantly going over and over, having the same conversation, looking like you're an insane person, expecting this man to align and do something in a different way when he doesn't have the capacity to.
Yeah.
You may have misread his capacity. Maybe he is the man that you thought he could be. Okay? And that's okay. Acknowledging that we are wrong is a part of the process of growth and maturation. We learned a lesson. Let's keep it moving. Okay? That for me, there is power in us truly understanding the magnitude of the affect that we build with people and how it affects our persona, who we are as people and the way that we move in this life, and then doing something with that, right? That understanding. So my next one is to deal with their trauma. I want women to deal with their trauma in lieu of investing in band-aids. Like cosmetic surgery.
Mm.
Yes. And ladies, I know I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this. I get it. Don't come to me with the smoke because I ain't sent for you. But just know who you coming for. Okay? I'm okay with you doing whatever you want to do for yourself. But the thing is, you can't see when you got them super long eyelashes on. Your ass gonna be hurting when you got that cement hardening in them BBLs.
Mm.
You're going to be in a world of pain when you're going inside of somebody's ER because you had a ruptured boob or a ruptured ass cheek. And then the reality is your legs don't match. I don't care what Dr. Asby Bigger told you. It just, the math is not mathing with the computation of your body's alignment. And then that stuff sags over time and it just looks worse, worse, and worse for wear. I mean, gravity has never skipped over any of us.
Mm-mm.
It never has. We're all going to be victims of gravity one day. Ask yourself how you want yours to look. And I get it. These young people nowadays, y'all don't even think about living past 30. I've heard,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get it in therapy all the time, but let me tell you, you will regret having to look at that ass that you dragging and it's sagging and causing more back pain for you over time. I naturally am gifted with all of the things that y'all BBLing. And I'm telling you, it's a struggle every day. So imagine what it looks like when it's really not yours, but it's just now dragging the floor attached to what is yours. It's now sagging too. I can't even fathom it. I'd love to have bigger boobs, but guess what? Nobody is about to plastic surgery me. I just can't do it. You're doing unnecessary surgery. Be happy with the body that God gave you, and if you want more, pray for more, and just be careful what you ask for, because He might make
Padded bar. Buy those padded bars and lift up. Lift and separate. Okay. Give the appearance of the bigger.
All right. So deal with your trauma. Address the things that your fathers, your mothers, the exposure to the negative relationships, the negative people in your life have done to your sense of self. Okay. And then in the aftermath of dealing with that stuff, just invest in something that's permanent, like therapy versus surgery versus super long lashes and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Let's just do that. Because here's the reality. No man wants to wake up with something that he didn't anticipate. And I know a lot of men are like, oh, well, if you wear makeup, blah, blah, blah. I wear makeup, but I can guarantee you one thing. My natural face, which you see up there in my wonderful logo, my natural face and my makeup face are not far away from each other. They ain't sisters. They twins. They twins that came in the same set. So if you don't look like what you look like before makeup, after makeup, you probably need to just divest. Don't leave it up. Leave it on. In Africa, they call it a makeover. And they really be doing makeovers. I just wanted to add that in there. But so moving on my list, my next one on my list is redefine self-respect, self-worth, self-value appropriately. So rethink some of the way that you guys respond and shape your ideals around the excessive makeup, the excessive false lashes, but also, more importantly, your worth and your value in a relationship. I know Kevin Samuels has told you guys all types of great things about how it is that your sexual marketplace matters and all that good stuff. That's not what makes you a great woman. But also, to the fact, I think was the point that maybe he was trying to make before he died, having a PhD and an abundance of education is also not something that makes you a great woman. Having a character, right, that is worthy of leaving a legacy and another person deciding to invest in a legacy built around the framework of it, your character, the content of your character is what makes you worthy. And it's the impact that you leave on this earth that's worth something, right? I think that women need to redefine the way that we look at ourselves versus the way the world sees us and allow the weight of how we see ourselves to carry us forward. Because when we start looking at the world and its reflection, and we start looking at its expectations of us, I think that that creates unrealistic ideation around what it means to be a woman. It also creates this space of vicarious trauma that we also oftentimes sit in, and it creates this cannot do attitude. And I would love for our women to empower themselves from the right positionings in order to be able to do things that actually matter when it comes to how it is that we're building our future moving forward. So don't just divest in from men because they make you feel a way. Be accountable for the things that they're saying. You know, I think Kale and Susanna both mentioned the that what is it? Don't always feel like the need to be right, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, and I'm gonna say it, God help me, I'm gonna say it. Women have never wanted to be right. Women have always wanted to be validated. Women have always wanted to be seen, and women have always wanted to be heard. Men weaponized that and made it women wanted to be right when man did not want to be held accountable. So I think that we have to embrace that, approach that, and call that a thing a thing. The reality is, when a man doesn't want to be held accountable, of course, he doesn't want to hear whether a woman is right or not. He wants to wait until it slaps him in the face and it blows up. And then everything is right there in front of him. He can't deny it then. And then he won't acknowledge that the woman was right. But he'll say off to the side, snickeringly, women always right.
Yeah.
You prayed that on me. She ain't prayed nothing on you. She saw God's will and you didn't. Because God gave her the gift of discernment and not you. So a man has to learn to follow a woman's lead appropriately if he is to understand why it is that the woman is right when she is. I think women have always historically had a great history of accepting when she was wrong and repositioning herself and fixing her crown. Here recently, women only get shunned. And when women are correct and when women are right, you want to know what other women do? Because they've now sided with those same men that say, stop trying to be right all the time. They try to take that woman and tear that woman down by doxing her. That's what they do now on the internet. It's a form of bullying. You try to find all other reasons to invalidate the person because you can't argue the point that she's arguing. Because the reality is she is right. I think we as women have to learn how to accurately support us and accurately correct us. And if a woman is wrong in her stance, in her position, in her thoughts, in her opinions, whatever it is, in her reflections, even the way she moves, and the sway of her hip, if you feel like she's wrong, have the conversation. Don't go to being a narcissist and try and find a group of people and band up, and gang up on the girl and then say, oh, you did this, so you must be this. When the two things don't even correlate. You know what I mean? Like I think for us to be people who support women and for women to make a serious amount of growth and prosperity, I think we have to accept the fact that we're not always right. But that's something that women have always known historically for ages. And because we've always known that we're not always right, women are always the ones that remain curious, and we're always the ones that seek higher education. Why do you think women have all of these complex degrees? It says we never stop learning and we never feel like we're above being taught something. But you want to know who does not do that? Men.
Look, y'all don't want to think y'all do it all and can't be told nothing.
Okay, well, why do men become complacent then? Women make men complacent.
Yeah.
No, we make you
comfortable. No, we can't make you complacent.
No, we make you we make you comfortable. You become complacent. Because a woman's bosom accepts you as you are, because she's silent and subservient, seemingly, because she doesn't argue with you, because she follows you and submits to you, doesn't mean that she expects for you to become complacent. It means that she expects you to see her silence and subservience that appears to be on the surface what it is. She expects for you to see that as a sign of her respect, as a show of her support for you, so that you can go forth and be great to her. She doesn't want to tear you down. So I think that men have to learn that in order to embrace and bring about the softness in a woman, you have to learn how to submit to her authority given by the grace of God. You got to learn how to pray with that woman. You got to learn how to be with that woman. You got to learn how to appreciate that woman. And more of all, you got to learn how to love on that woman. Because the reality is, a black woman will never divest from a black man. As sad as it is to say, a black man can beat her, tie her down, rape her, torture her. And in her mind and her heart of her hearts, a woman in the black American race will never divest from her man. It's ingrained in us. It's like a transgenerational trauma of attachment. And we can't get away from it. Unfortunately, we got to call a thing a thing. But we will shout to the heavens and earth and beyond in the universe and say that we're going to leave and we hate you and you ain't shit. We'll do all of that. But the reality is, we'll always find a way to come back and show support for our black man. And I think that we have to own that as black women. I
Mhm.
think that we have to learn how to respect our inadequacies in the same way that we've learned to
Yeah.
respect and
Yeah.
operate in our dysfunction that is sort of healed when we do go to therapy, right? So if we learn to respect those inadequacies that are not yet in therapy or not yet healed, then we can maybe invite them for a conversation or a seat at the table when we are in healing spaces. And my last one is for women to be mothers and advocates of that position of a mother. And what that means is instead of getting out here holding up picket signs and advocating for Roe versus Wade to be reinstated when it was never valid in the beginning because women never had rights at the point where that was argued. The Constitution wasn't written for women. So it can't be used to encourage or hold up abortion rights in the first place. I think that we need to advocate for women being mothers and showing up as mothers instead of vacating that position, running away from the responsibility, vying for the abortion line. I'm the first person in, vying for 15, 16, 17 abortions because she refuses to become a mother. I think what that means is we understand there are extenuating circumstances where abortion is necessary. But don't run away from your responsibility to show up as a mother, not a life producer. Because that's something
Mm.
we really can't run away from.
Really fun.
But being a mother is a person who nurtures, who teaches, who responds to, who loves on, who teaches love, who teaches respect, teaches responsibility, who holds her children and the world around her accountable, and she stands up regardless of what the world may tell her, and she will fight for her black man and her black woman and for her culture and her subculture, regardless of how many times she gets the door slammed in her face. The force of a black mother has been known and echoed through the halls of our history for ages. And I think that we have forgotten that. I think we moved away from that. And we no longer even know how to appreciate that. And I think that that's what women need to get back to, because once we get back to that, I think that we reinstate the value of what it means to be in the subculture of Black America. So that's my list.
Mm.
Y'all don't want the smoke. Hey, Liner, how are you? Hit the like and the subscribe button. Hit the like and the subscribe button. If you guys are new to this channel, we appreciate you guys taking out the time to watch our content today. And we are going to now move on from our list. Hopefully, Urban can drop his nuggets of his thing, his list of 5 for women. I don't know if he has more, but hopefully he can drop his afterwards. And we're going to move on to our final discussion topic, which is our relationship advice discussion. And y'all, let me tell you, hit the share button. Because this one is a unique one in and of itself. And also don't forget to comment the things that you feel like women need to stop doing or invest in doing in 2024 moving forward in order to reshape the outcomes for Black America now. Okay, so let's get into this. Our relationship advice discussion comes from a 29-year-old female. She's been married for 6.5 years to a 31-year-old male. They are both of the Black American heritage.
Hmm.
Okay. She says her husband got a paternity test on their 5-year-old daughter without consulting her, by the way. I don't remember that. And after it came back negative,
Good God. He ain't the father.
the paternity test came back that he was not the father. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They have been married for 6.5 years. They've been together all throughout college.
So the 5 years plus the one missing.
They've been together their whole adult life.
They've been married for. They
She
had a baby after
they
baby.
have been together literally her entire adult life since she was 18 and went into college.
Well, what is she asking?
With anybody. She's not slept with anybody since she met this man.
Before she met him, then, right?
She only slept with 2 people before she even met him, and those were the one person she had her first in high school, her senior year, and the one person that she dated right before she went off to college, which is where she met her husband.
So how did
It happens, but that's not the biggest point.
No.
The biggest point, you guys, is the context of the story, and I'm about to give you guys the details. Okay, so she and her spouse have been together since they were in college. She's never slept with anyone but him since they've been together. Now, right? So only had sex with 2 other men prior to her spouse, and college prior to the 2 of them being married. She had a discussion with her spouse about some of the tests that she desired to have to prove that she was actually faithful at the point that he presented to her the test outcomes that he was not the father with the mail-in DNA test kit that he did on his own without her consent or knowledge. Now, the devil is in the details here, okay? And in DNA, right? DNA tests do a comparative analysis of alleles, right? There's a reason we expect mom, dad, child to be a part of the DNA testing process, because that gives us a really good picture as to what the specifics are around paternity. There are several isolated cases over the course of the last 26 years that have presented unique finding where there are more than one viable paternal contributor. So over the course of 24 to 48 hours is when conception takes place. So in the typical situation where a woman may have sex with more than one person in that 24 to 48 hours, that is the norm. And when this person initially contacted me, I went through that process to help her understand how that's possible. Because she said, I have the difficult discussions. I help people, blah, blah, blah. Help her understand how this could happen, because she knows for sure that she's never slept with anyone else outside of him, right? So we talked about a couple of ways that it could be possible, but also the importance of understanding that sometimes there are errors in tests, okay? And the only way for us to find out if there is an error in the test is that both people, adult people, are now tested with the daughter a second time. And so she decided that, now I offered her to use a lab at their medical center, but she decided that she would use the same mail-in kit that he used. Okay.
Oh, okay. So he used a mail-in kit. Okay.
That might not be
That's what she did.
That probably
So the thing is, this is the part that, before I give you guys all of her outcome, I want to give you a little bit of background about that piece. Now, when her husband came to her, she said that she had just gotten done with her, daily cleaning of the house. So organizational structure of their relationship is that she's a stay-at-home mom. She's never really used her degree because he wanted to be more of the traditional man, and protecting and providing for the family. He's the one that works. She stays at home because it saves them on daycare, but also it allows her to be rested in her femininity and be a mother, an active mother with their 5-year-old daughter now.
Mm.
Now, he's had some questions or suspicions because according to him, his friends have made statements about the way that they see his wife, about the way that she dresses in public, about the things that she says, about some of the relationships she has with some of her male friends, because she has an abundance, a plethora of male friends, about the way that she just is as a woman. Now, until his friends started talking to him about some of these things, he never had any complaints, no concerns, no anything, right? Immediately, he tells her he is disgusted with her. She's a whore, calls her all types of names,
Mm.
and tells her she needs to get her shit and take her daughter and get out of his house. This is when he's throwing the DNA test in her face before she's really had the time to even sit with it and look at it. So, after encouraging her to have a conversation, she was in her vehicle, just basically crying, sobbing. The kids there. The kids saw everything. Okay. Couple of things here. I encouraged her to go back to have a conversation with him because at the end of the day, it's important to. How you gonna be raising a child for 5 years, and then you tell that child,
That's not your dad. That's not. I'm not your daddy.
right? And then to get the hell out of your house, and you speak to her mother like that, and then you expect for that woman to still love on you, and that's what I meant when I said a black woman has, regardless of what this man said to her, she was still advocating for her husband, still trying to get in. Do you know the magnitude of tolerance there has to be? Like, when a woman submits to a man, a woman doesn't expect a man to do these kinds of things. Doesn't. If a man is looking for this kind of stuff and he is not man enough to have the conversation with you before he even jumps to the conclusion of doing a DNA test, why are you doing a DNA test?
Right.
That's cheating. That's the first act of betrayal. Okay.
Right.
Forget
Right.
all of that. Okay.
And he's making that decision based on what friends said.
Right. To making the decision to get the DNA test. But here's the thing: you get the DNA test in the mail, and it says that you're not the father. Why not have a conversation, a medical consultation with your medical doctor before jumping to the conclusion that I'm all these different types of horse, sloozy, foozy, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So in the aftermath of this, she goes in, has a conversation with him. She asked him if she could just sleep in the baby's room for, the night until she can call her parents, and then, go over there while they work things out, because she knows that there must be a mistake because she hasn't slept with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they did end up reconciling. She talked to her father. Her father called him, had a conversation with her husband or whatever, and he allowed her to sleep in her daughter's room. But you got to remember, she's still all these hoes and stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in the aftermath of that, they finally get to a place to where they're discussing what next steps are. And this is unfolded over the course of about a week or so, and just got the last test in yesterday, actually. But so the young lady said, okay, I want to take a test too. And she took the test, like I said, that was all the way last week. The mail-in one that he got, because it's a rapid test, come back 24 to 48 hours. She got it back, and the test said that she wasn't the mother.
So, but she delivered this baby, right? Yeah. So
she delivered the baby. He watched her deliver the baby. Baby never left the room. The baby never left the room. Okay. So now she's really like, I'm gonna need you to explain this to me, Dr. J, because nobody's explaining this to me in a way that it makes sense. I said, well, I did advise you to go to
To go
your
to a lab.
Kaiser medical facility and
Center.
have the lab do a test, or you can go to DNA diagnostics to the actual lab, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they went in and had the test done together.
The three of them.
And yes, the three of them. So yesterday's lab results were that they're both the parent, the father, and the mother.
Okay.
So here's the thing: the trauma of the
Oh,
child being exposed to the father, saying that your mama ain't nothing but a hoe and you a hoe's
you
child and
and
you ain't my
mine.
child and blah blah blah. That's all happened. That's a real trauma for a 5-year-old girl to go through.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? Now
So
she's
what is?
rethinking, what does it look like if we stay together now?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the
After.
first question. And how can I stay with a man who jumped to the conclusion that I would be a whore and I would sleep around and, ousted, put me on the streets, and he's supposed to have been my protector, my provider, my this, my that. And then she saw some other behaviors in the time that they were waiting on these labs to come back. He's been having a dialogue with another woman saying, oh, she
Mm.
won't replace you. She never do this to me. Sir.
Who's now? So who's cheating?
Right. So you really were looking for a reason to
Reason an
leave.
escape. Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, I do feel like there are traumas to take into consideration when it comes to the way that we look at reconciliation for her and her spouse, because they have been married for 6.5 years and they do have this child together. This child now needs trauma-informed therapy in order to understand the difficulties of immature adults that were incapable of being adults, away from a child having a conversation that a child should have otherwise not even been affected by.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you guys think that she should do? Do you think that she should go? Do you think she should stay? What are your thoughts around the way that they heal and reconcile or separate and figure out what next steps are? And Susie, you can share your thoughts.
I mean, I think now that, and it would be interesting. What did he say when the test showed that they were actually the parents? Like, what was his response?
He said he was sorry.
Okay.
He apologized.
Okay. I mean, I think couples counseling marriage counseling would really help them to be able to sort that out about how they want this relationship to look, and their marriage to look, and how they can be able to. And I guess the kid is 5, but how would they be able, as a married couple, be able to talk to this little kid about what happened? Because that needs to happen to some degree, and clearly needs to get the kid, their kid, his or her own place to understand what happened between mom and dad and how the kid feel about that. But I really think, this if they feel like they want to be together, and like if he, recognize, well, I'm really sorry, and there's some genuineness to that, and in light of what has happened, he thinks that maybe we can make it, and she feels the same way. It's okay to have couples counseling because they've got to sort out how they feel, the level of distrust that she now feels for him, and how do they work on that so that they are able to, I don't know what the word is, but they're able to be in a place where they can actually make things more realistic and better, if that's the right word, better. But take a look at what happened. But I think the counseling would allow for him to understand what happened for him, that he did what he did, And for her also to understand that as well, and for him to then take a look at, how she valued this marriage a whole lot more than he did, and acknowledge that.
Perhaps. I do think there is a part of her maybe that's feeling like maybe she had some delusions about the security in the marriage. And here is the reality. Okay. Sometimes I like to explain to couples and in relationships that we maintain with people, whether it's a friendship, an
Mhm.
intimate partner, companionship,
Mhm.
a family, filial relationship. In relationships, you always have different parties who are playing a different role in the
Mhm.
relationship that you might be, which is why those relationships typically have a tendency to thrive the way they do. There's nothing wrong with one person leaning out, the other person leaning in. There is nothing wrong with people reevaluating whether or not they have value for you in their lives, right?
Mhm.
Whether or not they hold value for themselves showing up in your life. So there is nothing wrong with that reevaluation component, but there is something very wrong when a person decides to go so far left that to the
Mhm.
point where they're looking for a way out, and that
Mhm.
way out is abusive to you and your personification of who you are and what you represent for them in their life, right? So I
Mhm.
think that we have to reevaluate the way people show up in our life and demonstrate that they truly love and value us. We have to reevaluate how much we're willing to take from another person and what it looks like for us to then reconcile when we break the bonds of trust.
Mhm.
Definitely infidelity recovery is a necessary component here, because here's the reality. This is cruelty to children.
Right. It's cruelty to her as well. Mhm.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a whole nother level when it's a
Right.
child. That
Mhm.
child is not yet a mother. That child is not yet a whole being capable of independent reasoning, thinking, and
Right.
logic. That doesn't happen until age 11. The effects of a childhood trauma of this magnitude on a child under 11 means that she'll forever be tainted with the insecurities
Mhm.
and sense of self that's necessary for healthy people to become healthy adults. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Without the proper help and a continuation
Mhm.
of support, love, encouragement, and it doesn't matter how many explanations you give a child under 11, that trauma
Yeah,
is that
they're
trauma.
not gonna
It has
get it.
a
Mhm.
long standing impact, is
Mhm.
what I'm saying. So when you talk about the potential for personality disorder development, it's extremely high as a result of this exposure. So I think infidelity recovery is a necessary component. Having a conversation about what it looks like to slowly
Mhm.
examine what led to him being in a place to where he felt comfortable enough
Enough to.
with disrespecting me as his wife. If I'm, you know what I mean? If I'm in this position, I need to understand
There's no questioning. There's this is how
who
it
hell
is.
made you so
Right.
comfortable that you thought it was okay for you to disrespect me, for one, to that magnitude, for two, to jump to that assumption,
I'm
for
sure.
three, to go behind my back and
That.
betray me, for four, I got a ton of things to
Five,
harm our
is there another
child.
woman involved?
Right, because now you're talking to other women, and I'm wondering to myself, have you been talking to these other women? Is that just now coming out?
No, right? Because
Because now
those
you
things.
feel comfortable? It's something safe
Mhm.
for you to do now? Like, we need to determine to what extent it's even possible for us to reestablish the bounds of trust.
Mhm.
And what previously was our relationship built on? If
Right.
not
Right.
trust, if not
Right.
adequate communication, if not safety and connectivity that allows us to have the difficult conversation with one another. Because if I can't talk to you, if I can't connect to you, if I can't relate to you and you to me, then who are we? We definitely are not a married couple,
Mhm.
because marriage is a construct of the mind. It is not a contract on paper.
Mhm.
You understand? So it's like,
Mhm.
if your mind told you your friends were more reliable and you were married to them, what am I doing with you?
Mhm.
Kel, what are your thoughts? Yeah, you got to come over here because they can't hear you.
I don't know what you think about that. Be that information. Doesn't matter that long, but I don't know. That's true. What the settlement gonna be?
They're the father and the mother.
Well, he is the boss.
Yeah.
Well, they have that.
Yeah, but the question is, does she leave? Does she stay? How do they get to a point of reconciliation if that's possible?
Why we gonna leave now? We just know that.
It's not about him.
No, it's not about him.
I
It's
like
about
that.
the kid. It's not about him.
Ooh, fuck
No,
that
it's not
man.
about, it's not about him, right?
Why? Who cares about him? Now she might want to leave. You ever thought about that?
Mm-hmm.
She may do. I mean, if you do, then that's on her.
The question is,
Mm.
what do you do in the aftermath of having somebody that you trusted to be your leader, provider, protector? You trusted them enough to take your foot off the gas,
Mm-hmm.
to not continue your career, to build and extend his legacy, to sacrifice your own life and vitality in the workplace. And
then to have him.
yeah, to have him feel so beautiful and high and mighty that he was gonna kick your ass out on the street on the whim that maybe he wasn't the daddy. It's for him. For me, it's the fact that he thought it was okay for him to go and get a blood test without having a conversation whatsoever.
Uh-huh. Secretly. Go get one. And then present it to you.
Yes.
I don't know
With,
about that.
with,
I mean, what problem do that period though?
Right. So we need to have a conversation about why you think
that
it's
was okay to
for-
do that.
You never asked him that they wouldn't done it.
Yeah, he didn't ask nothing. He just went and did it.
No.
You don't think he wrong for that? Oh, you ain't gonna hold a man accountable,
No,
of course.
all the way I actually come up there. All of us, the suspicion came in. and said,
Unbelievable.
That's a 5 years.
And then he just said he was sorry.
I don't know how they came by that, but yeah, but I'm just saying. So that's the hurt. So, you know, that's the emotional thing. So for most people, men and women, no. So
I don't think women go out getting mail-in DNA tests. We don't.
No, we won't.
We don't do that.
No, we don't.
They suspect them outside the shower or something like that. You know, they don't kind of be with that. You know?
Well, we're not irresponsible penis holders.
Anyway, she took me the coochie giver. He gonna be getting all that going on.
He said she should be the coochie giver.
Oh my God.
She didn't get it by herself.
But she didn't. She didn't.
You're able to.
She didn't. It was his child. She never had sex with anybody outside of him.
I'm saying she is clear. I mean, he had an emotional moment. I understand.
What was the emotional
Yeah,
moment?
he had an emotional moment.
She was an emotional mom. Is that what he said?
He said the man had an emotional moment.
Yeah.
He had an emotional moment.
Wait down, thinking that was his
What
dog.
does that mean?
What the fuck? Child, listen.
He thought that was his dog.
Uh-huh.
On a false.
So just okay. So let's back
But
up.
for 5 years, you believe
Right.
that's your kid up until suddenly somebody said.
What makes it okay for him to even go and get an at-home DNA test in the first place? Like he does not have the right. Well, he does, but he don't.
Somebody told him to do that.
I mean,
Yeah, his friends.
Came in there.
Yeah.
The suspicion
For that
came in his
woman.
friends. His friends told him that she have too many male friends. She's too nice with her male friends. She brings her male friends. They play the same way she brings his play. It was a lot of complaints that they said.
Okay.
I mean, but she brings his male friend their plate. So that means she's fucking your friends too? No, it's just a common courtesy. She's a
Was that ever an issue for him?
Right.
Was that ever an issue for him until they started talking
It
about
was
it?
never an issue for him until his guy friends started talking about it.
Got that suspect right.
Huh?
That's right. That make it right?
He played into that.
He said that's how he got in the suspect realm.
Yeah,
I am done. Okay, men refuse to be held accountable.
Take responsibility.
I'm telling you, you cannot.
I guess it seemed believable.
You cannot. You cannot be upholding this man.
I'm not upholding him. I'm
This
just saying.
male. I didn't even call him a man. How dare he?
I'm just saying. I guess he believed what his friend says. There was something at that moment where we got a test. It just verified it for him. Even with a false analysis, it still kind of verified for him what he Well, he was considering.
No.
A test does not verify
No.
whether or not you are a father. It verifies the paternage of a child. And sometimes it's inaccurate. In your
Right.
heart, in your soul of souls, what you feel when that birth
Or
life comes
positive.
into the world determines whether or not you're a father. You've been a father to this child for 5 years, and you think it's okay for you to go and get a DNA test on the strength of your friends said it might not be yours
I
because
mean,
they don't
that's
like
a
the way your
double
wife
analysis.
moves?
I agree with that. I mean,
No.
this is not way to fall into the realm. I'm still saying though, he fell in that realm. He did all that. He did all that.
So he didn't trust her enough to say, "Look, I have some concerns.
Yes.
Let's go
like
get
that.
tested." You know, he ran. He
I
didn't
think
make
he
a
should never
decision
leave
to
it
get.
out.
He didn't
I
take
don't
the
know
kid
what-
down and get the kid
why not.
tested or nothing.
I mean, after 5 years, I couldn't do that for 5 years. Now, after some nigga say something to me too, that ain't gonna help me. I'm in too deep. That ain't gonna help me. Maybe 2-3 months pregnant or whatever. I think some shit going on.
He said 2-3 months pregnant.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, I might
gonna
think
do
some
the
shit going on
amnio.
there. But after 5 years, no, I ain't gonna be doing that one.
So he said he was sorry, and then what does he want?
That's too much time.
He said that he was sorry. He won't speak about what it is that he wants. This is as recent as last night, literally.
Mhm.
So she's just saying that she feels uneasy about continuing the relationship because here it is, and now it's the fact for her that he's been talking to other women now.
Right.
So now she feels less secure. And I kind of explored with her.
What do you mean?
He
Well,
told her
this is where
other
she
women
asked
that
him.
won't cheat on him before they got the test results back. He was talking to other women online.
Confirm nothing about no.
Yeah, he ain't confirmed yet, but he was.
So she has to. She should ask him that.
Yeah.
Ask
Good
him
God, well,
about that.
well, he put himself in that position. Then I hope you for your option. Like I said, the modern man said you got options. You don't know these bitches, boy. You better watch yourself.
He put himself
Oh,
in that position.
okay. Or no show, fool.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be a no-show.
Yeah. I'm telling you, to that point that you got 100 potential options. Like you grand, you like you do all that. You don't know half of these women. No, that ain't how it go.
So you guys, you have it. You heard it here first, second, third, whatever. Okay. I want to know what you guys' thoughts are. I want to know whether or not you guys think that the young lady should stay, should go. What are your thoughts about things that you think women should do in order to change the course of the legacy that Black Americans have to continue who we are, redefine our purpose and our passion about our humanity and our subculture? And I want to know how you feel about our relationship topic of discussion today. Because I really feel like it's hard for men to hold men accountable. As you guys saw,
Urban said they do.
I ain't going to defend. I just trying to figure out his deductive reason how you came to that point. I wasn't defending him. I'm trying to see how you came up there, how you come up there to do that. Yeah,
we do too. We want to know how he come in, how he got there.
We want to know how it is that he thought it was okay for him to even try to. But see, for me, I think it's really important to learn.
You got conspiracy in your mind. That would do that.
No, conspiracy in your mind should lead you to have a conversation with
with doing something.
You're not married to your friend.
No, what I'm saying.
You better learn what prayer look like. You better learn what having a conversation look like. You better do something safe before you come to me, call me all kind of hoes.
Right.
He was a conspiracy. She was. He had an inspiring type mindset.
Yeah, but he got to learn how to go to his God. When you take the vows of marriage, it tells you that marriage is not an entity that you enter into lightly. You know why? Because the element that you're getting married to, God, the Spirit, the Father, that you're marrying into and making a commitment before, gonna hold you accountable wholeheartedly. So the thing is, I think that we have to look at the weight of what we do and be conscious of who we are and how we move.
Before he figure out what he got going on.
I think he brought him up because he felt like he was right. He thought he was right in his claim because the DNA
had a test
over the male said he wasn't dead.
He still ain't. He done brought the other women somebody ain't correct. He done fucked that up.
Well, he had a test to prove he was right. What his friends were saying were right. The issue is he never had a discussion with her before he get to doing all the things he did.
Exactly. Because
And
that's
now,
really the issue
yeah.
here. A lot of people look at the fact, well, what would the test say? The fuck?
They don't
Nobody
know
cares what the
what it
test says.
says. Even if it wasn't his kid.
Even if it wasn't, you are the first person to commit a treason against the relationship. Because you're the person to go out and decide to take it upon yourself to go get a Dana. You cheated with Dana before you even cheated with Wayne, whoever you on the thing talking to.
I guess he felt like, she won't tell him the truth, so he gonna let the test tell him the truth.
Yeah, no. He can't feel like she won't tell him the truth. He never gave her an opportunity.
He's right.
That's why I said he felt like that. I ain't say he
No.
So that's okay in a non-marriage. And it really ain't even okay then.
No, okay, then you have a conversation. No,
It
it isn't, Kel.
I'm telling you, it's never okay for you to not give another person an opportunity to have a voice in the room around a matter that directly involves them and you before you go to an outside counsel. You can't just do that. Why do you think couples have a conversation first before they talk about going to therapy? They don't just call me the therapist and say, hey, by the way, I want to bombard my husband, my wife with therapy. So you're going to be able to see us. No. They have several conversations. Babe, we're having struggles through this, and this. Do you think therapy is a viable option? Right? And then somebody contacts the therapist. But you got to learn that adequate and fluid communication, honest communication with your partner is essential. You cannot somebody doing a at-home DNA test behind their partner's back on their child
without any kind of a conversation.
Ludicrous.
Even if he confronted her before and says, I think you will, I suspect you might
he
be
didn't do that.
He
didn't even do that. The woman, one day she woke up, everything was perfect, fixing breakfast, love you, honey. He goes off to work, come back home, he got them DNA test results he just got out the mail. And ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas. Get out my house. The thing is, like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Look, it's against the laws of humanity.
And it takes a look at how they've been communicating all along.
No, she said that was different from anything that she's accustomed to. Normally, he talks to her about everything. He's very close to her. They, they work out their issues. They've never had an issue whatsoever in their marriage.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then now, it's
all of a sudden.
Yeah. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the conversations he had. Yeah, but the conversation he had with his friends, he never talked to her about. That's when he first started keeping the secret. So for me, it's similar to the situation as the last relationship discussion we had. The friends that men are keeping are the problem.
Are toxic.
They are leading to their destruction. Look, you got an otherwise healthy marriage.
That's why I have no friends. That's why I have no men. I don't do
that. Did he say that's why you have no friends?
You understand my position. Yes, now we got to the nut level.
So men do that too, because that traditionally woman is described as their girlfriends tell them, "Oh, leave it alone." Da, 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 da. Men do that too.
But why not pick like-minded men to be friends?
They call them like-minded like other friends are. They're not like that.
Maybe they are like-minded. We're just finding that out.
Like me, I'll be that. I mean, that gotta be fake now, but it's not like that. Everybody like that other guy friend was. That's why I don't fool with them. They like he are.
Me? Are y'all okay? It's Men's Mental Health Month. I want to emphasize that. Okay.
Them one trying to put your wife. They trying to buy your back. If you man want to pick the wife your friend, he be the one who got to put behind your back.
You know what? That's probably why he was talking about the way the wife.
The whole thing got inside that man's head.
So for me, if I'm the man, I'm asking the question of how do you know why are you watching her so hard, sir?
Yeah, like I would be concerned my friends are looking at my wife.
Right. How do you know she's serving everybody else in the room? How do you know what she's doing? Why are you watching her so closely? That would have been my mindset if I was that guy.
All those things sound like
it can't sound like an alarm.
Yeah, that's why you don't bring certain people out. They doing them type of things, man. I'm telling you, I don't trust no me. I don't trust no me. I don't care what that is. I don't trust me.
So now she and him has to have a discussion about what they want to do.
I think that they need to have a discussion about the possibility of reconciliation and rebuilding the bounds of trust. Because here's the thing: Whether or not she leaves or stays, like I
You
said
better
last
be
week,
praying
I
about it.
never
Be
like
okay.
to encourage somebody to break a
Mhm.
bond they've made a covenant between themselves and God around,
They have
right?
to figure that out.
But I think it's important for her to have a conversation with him about respect.
Mhm.
Respect, the costlier of respect is paramount. You got to have that conversation because here's the thing: I need to understand the person that I've married. At this point, I need to understand who are you and you're
Oh,
becoming. Because the man that I assumed you would be and you had the capacity to become did not
it's
include the
not
man
him.
that's in
That's
front of
not
me,
him today.
even on the objective list, right? So I never thought that you would be the person that would disrespect me. Those are the things they need to have conversations around. And it's hurtful to me that you've exposed our daughter to this level of trauma.
Mhm.
Those are the conversations I think they need to start having now. And then I think they need to get to a level of understanding where they realize that people are just people because that's the reality. Okay.
Mhm.
I joke around and I've joked around this topic, but people are just people and we're flawed
Mhm.
in our creation. We're flawed in our presentation. We're just human. Okay. Only God is all perfect. We're the perfection of imperfection. That means you're going to see imperfection and flaws all throughout our existence, okay? Our personification, all of that. So she's got to accept the fact that he is the way he is. And you can only pray for clarity as to where your direction should be leading you right now. But it should definitely be leading them in a way that they learn to redefine who they are every day. Do a healthy evaluation as to where they're going and growing in their relationship. Because the reality
Mhm.
is, sometimes we put too much faith in those people and they don't even
Mhm.
have the direction as to
Mhm.
how to get to where they know they can go. You understand? And we have to recognize that to figure out how we can help them, right? So sometimes he's got to be strong enough to cut those ties that are in his ear that are negative seeds being sown.
Right.
Because, as those super religious people say, the devil's
Mhm.
always in your ear. Sometimes the devil is always in your ear. Okay. I
Mhm.
don't know how it happens, but sometimes. Okay.
Okay.
All
So he
right.
may
So,
have to. He may have to get rid of those male friends
right. And she might
or
have to
female friends
redefine
too.
she might have to redefine how it is
Mm.
that she sees her husband because
Well,
to never have
definitely.
seen him as a disrespectful man, all the
Mhm.
things she had, all upstanding citizen, he was a church going, God fearing man, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
All of those things that she said about him, he was a deacon in the church. What kind of deacon calls his wife a whore?
Mhm.
They got whores of Babylon, but Jesus saved the saints.
I'm sorry.
This girl literally has a body count of three. Three, and she's not even 30. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
take off
look
those
at
rose-colored glasses to see him as
right.
he really is.
So she has to, take him out, depedestalize him first, humanize him, allow him to be
Mhm.
human. And in accepting the fact that he's only human, she's got to deconstruct some of the things that she feels keeps him up on that pedestal and
Mhm.
start having some real conversations about whatever insecurities lie inside of him.
Mhm.
Because the reality is he's got to be seated in insecurity if he went to the
Women
extreme
too. Mhm.
of jumping to get an at-home DNA test instead of going to her and having the conversation, saying, "Hey, baby, my friend said this, this, and this got me feeling like,
Mhm.
know if I can trust you." Like he could have said that. There are a lot of different ways he could have brokered that conversation, but
Mhm.
instead he committed the biggest act of betrayal.
Betrayal.
I don't know what I would do if I was in her position. No,
I
I
know what
wouldn't.
I would do, but I can't say it.
I don't even know. I don't even know. Like it's not. I think for
I know what
me,
I could have done.
I think marriage is the most respectable entity. It's the most. It's the heaviest crown that we could ever wear as people because it indebts us not only to humanity but also to
Mhm.
God at the same time
Mhm.
and in a larger capacity than anything else.
Eventually.
Hell, it truly holds us liable for all of the things that we never imagined committing to, all of the things that we
Mhm.
never imagined weathering without fail or running away or divesting.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because it says
Mhm.
that do you part. So essentially, it says that whatever comes, whatever stones, whatever injuries, you're supposed to stay the course. So the
Mhm.
reality is, before you make a commitment to that person that you choose to marry, you better damn well know that that person is going to be able to ride or die with you for life.
Mm.
And whatever they become, that you're going to be able to accept it, to navigate through it, get away from it temporarily, but never divest from it permanently. In my mind, I can't imagine what I would do, because there is no way that the mindset that I am of as a woman who believes heavily in submission. Oh no, I can't respect you. We're gonna have to fight. Because those are fighting words.
I could understand that.
Nobody can speak to me like that. First, I'm gonna look at you like I know you must be having a psychotic episode. Like I know this is a psychotic episode. This is a demon that has possessed your body. This is a spiritual warfare. I'm gonna do all that. I'm just gonna say, because I need to understand that the person that I have selected, because when I say woman is given a gift of discernment, we are. Okay, I need to understand that the person I thought you had the capacity to be is nowhere in there.
It's not real. And how do I take care of this kid who's now traumatized?
Yeah,
I've got to find support for this kid.
You know, that's that mother lion coming out, that lioness, because we're supposed to advocate for the safety of our children in a situation like that. How would you even know to tell the child, get back, go, put earmuffs on, you know, because you don't know that kind of stuff is going to come out of your mouth, and the words that he spewed to their child. It's a lot for me. That is a lot.
Because daddy made a mistake. It's not going to work.
No.
It's too late.
Mommy would have had to make a mistake too. Kick him in the mouth, to his knees, in the balls, and the everything. I don't know.
No, well, you know, I told you what I did. I just laughed.
But seriously,
so I remember
seriously, I don't. I don't promote violence, but violence sometimes beget violence. It's a war. It's a war.
You know, this is kind of where you pray.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pray a lot though. I can imagine me praying a lot and then grabbing at my limbs that are trying to do things that are ungodly. I don't know, but I think, I really do think that it's time for a deeper conversation. I really
absolutely.
do. I really do. It's time for a deeper conversation, some serious acceptance component, and some serious legwork when it comes to putting an actionable plan into place to hold one another accountable for what we do, how we do, when we do, what we do. Right?
And they really may need marriage. Then they will really need marriage counseling to do that. Absolutely.
I agree.
And this kid also needs her own therapist to help her, because she's going to act that stuff up over the years.
Definitely need some play therapy, but also I think some trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy could be a good fit for trying to resolve some of that stuff. But it takes time for kids. So,
well, if she and he's sort of invested in the marriage, it's going to take time.
No, they invest.
Well,
all he do is get rid of his friends, he'd be okay.
Get rid of your friends, he's gonna be okay. That's not.
Got the wrong friend.
Getting rid of your friends does not rectify the situation of disrespect that you've done toward.
It's not your friends you gotta get rid of. Well, you do gotta get rid of them, but it's not really them.
But see, here's the thing. Like, and people say that all the time, but I encourage people to take personal accountability. I hate it when folks say, "Oh, it's the friends."
No,
it's Facebook. Facebook is the people married. No, it's you.
You believed in that.
Facebook and your friends and the world are going to be what the world going to be and everything. But guess what? You have to take accountability for the way you respond to those external entities. So I'm not eliminating my friends, because my friends have no personal autonomy over me.
Right.
I'm eliminating those parts of me that are dysregulated, that do not know how to make conscientious decisions, because I need to do some soul searching. My friends are my friends, and if they've been there for me, they still gonna be my friends. I should know better. As a man, we put great deals of faith in you people.
They should be talking.
They are who they are.
No, your friends are who they are. You can't change them. You can let them talk whatever they want to talk.
That kind of stuff you eat.
They didn't put it in your head. You did.
No.
You let that soak in. They put it into the atmosphere. You grabbed it down and put it in your own head.
Why you put that? Where it comes?
Because they feel like it. They're them. They have a right to do that.
I want to challenge you about your partner.
It's not you challenging, it's you
No,
expressing yourself.
question.
So I have a right to express myself that I think your wife ain't shit.
And if his friends were talking about his wife like that, what did he say to them?
There you go. You're
What did
supposed
you-
to protect your wife
And talking about
peace
my
in your
wife like,
and say, hey, listen, man, I see that that's something you notice, but I'm just wondering what I'm noticing in you is that
What you notice in my
wife a
wife.
little too much.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Exactly. That's why I said
Notice
you
it
go
ain't.
for your wife. You get rid of them different. That's what I'm trying to tell you what's going on.
Right, but that don't mean you have to get rid of them. That just
No.
means you put them in check.
Yeah. And they'll go away because they can't stand the boundary. They'll go away.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like for me, I feel like we run. We don't deal with things. I feel like that is the number one issue in Black society. We can't just run every time. No, we need to learn how to start actually dealing with the things that are there. That means acknowledging that we have some flaws and we need to do some work and doing that work. So,
but he said he checks his friend pretty quickly. They would not say anymore. Right?
Yeah.
And then he would not have gotten to that place where somebody said that, that kid really yours.
So he can have that conversation. I think that, okay, in a perfect world, right? Because who knows, he might see this video. She might share it with him.
Mm-hmm.
In a perfect world, the way that conversation with his friends should have gone is in his collection of friends. Hey, bro, I see that you noticed this about my wife, but like I said, you're a little bit too noticing. I don't appreciate you noticing my wife. I don't appreciate you looking and watching my wife as she move, however she move with her friends. I get that you might be coming to me and on good authority. On the internal components of you might have some real concerns. And those concerns might be the fact that you see my wife in a way that is inappropriate. But I would appreciate if you just wouldn't. You understand? We're going to squash that there because this is my wife. This is who I've chosen. That's my daughter, regardless of what you might feel. Because I'm confident in that and I'm standing on business. So then what happens is that man or the men that have made those assertions about that man's wife see him as a different man than they thought they could try before. You see what I'm saying? So they're not trying your wife, they're trying you. A lot of men like to blame here and there. They don't take accountability. That's what I say. That's what I mean when I say that. They're not trying her. They're trying the man in you. They think that you, what they call it, bitch made. Right. So a man who challenges a man about his wife is challenging that man about his manhood. Because any man who is married to a woman knows that his primary function is to protect. Protect comes before provide. You have to covet your wife. That's your job. You got one job.
He should have jumped down on them. But it's interesting to know what they said. And he goes,
So my thing is, that was his opportunity, and it was a failed opportunity, missed opportunity. So that's where he needs to jump in and piggyback off of. He needs to be able to demonstrate that he stands firm with his wife, and she can trust him by way of checking the friends that are in his circle, not running away from them.
And then they can't come to my house anymore.
Well, no, not even that. Because see, a real man, when he checks you, it requires that you officially apologize to his wife for the things that you said and the upset that you caused in my spirit, in my household. Because I want peace as a man, right? If I'm a man, I want peace. You're gonna apologize to my wife for even mentioning some sly stuff that even I'm not holding you accountable for my actions, because clearly I was a broken man. Because you gotta own that. Bro, he has to own that, So I think that he has to own that. And owning that, I think other men see a man that they can truly stand behind. They can truly get behind because they see that man is the man that takes accountability for his mistakes. And then I think she sees strength in him for being able to take accountability for his mistakes. And I think that brings them together, not splits them apart. So I think truly that's where he could bridge the gap of incongruence, if any, right? And I think that she then needs to learn, like I said, see him as a person. He's just a person with flaws, right? And then learn meaningful ways to reconnect, go through therapy, do the work. Allow space for your daughter to do the work, support her through the process, show up congruent with one another, get spiritual counseling as well, get yourself in your
Mhm.
house in order. That's for me, that's the answer.
Mhm.
But I still feel like I could not have been her because I'm a spiritual woman, but I'm not that dedicated. You're not about to call me the
No.
whole Babylon anyhow. If you better not even say ho 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 Merry Christmas. You
Yeah.
better just say Merry Christmas, everybody. Just Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
would be
know.
hard to forget.
Yeah, I just
To forgive.
'cause then those would be trigger words.
Yes, ma'am.
But so I'd like to thank you guys for watching
Thank
our
you.
show. Thanks to Urban Therapist for coming on. And hopefully, once he's gotten things figured out and sorted out, he can come on and then he'll leave his list of things that he feels like women should start doing and some of the things they need to divest from, etc., on the feed for you guys. And if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please to take the time now to do so. We appreciate your support and your listenership. I am not monetized. You are welcome to Cash App donations there and help me build up my subscriber listener support on YouTube. I don't really know how you really refer to that, really, but I
Hmm.
think that's what it is. Help me build up my subscribers by liking and sharing the content. If you thought that it was appropriate or relatable, or you feel like somebody you know in your immediate circle needs to hear any of the content that we talked today, and I'm sure somebody does, in light of this month being
Men
Men
help.
Mental Health Awareness Month,
Men.
men need therapy.
Brothers need therapy too.
Yeah.
There's a social worker who's got a business that says that on his t-shirts.
Right. So
Brothers need
Google that.
therapy.
If you Google his hashtag Brothers Need Therapy
I
too,
will.
is that it?
Huh?
Brothers Need Therapy too? Is it
No,
Brothers Need Therapy or
brothers need therapy. Hmm.
okay, so if you guys hashtag and Google Brothers Need Therapy, he has merch and everything out, but he's also a social worker. I think it's really important for men to do the work that is impactful on allowing them to fully embrace their capacity as men. I think we have black kings embedded in every black man that's doing sometimes some off the wall things. You guys have to learn how to fix one another's crowds
Hmm.
and to hold one another accountable because I think
Hmm.
that's an area you guys just fail in. Sorry.
Hmm.
But that is all
Tell
that I
people they
have.
do.
Yeah, Urban Therapy said y'all do, but I think that's a lie. Mari
Maybe we
determined.
know a couple men who does. That's it.
Amari determined that was a lie. I don't know.
That's right. Men don't
But
hold men accountable.
in closing, I hope you
Mhm.
guys continue to put light, love, and positive energy into the atmosphere around you and to those people that are connected to you. Invite positive people around you. Please don't have friends that are essentially your enemies in your circle because they are always praying for your demise, your downfall, and you never know how powerful their prayers are. Because sometimes we don't pray at all. And I am not a person who is deeply religious, but I am very deeply spiritual. And I think that it's impactful and powerful that we all understand that there is a person, an entity, an element that is higher than us. And we all have to account for the things that we do in this life and the next. So it's important for you to keep yourself prayed up and protected against people that may be praying for your downfall, like this young man. I don't know his friends like that, but ain't no friends of mine about to be doing the kind of things that his friends doing. If you
I
guys
hope
are
he's
joining us,
genuinely sorry. Hmm.
right. If you guys are joining us for the first time and you caught this video on the end of it, please do go back and rewatch the whole video. If you catch me on the replay, God bless you because it's a long video. But if you made it to the end of this video,
3 hours.
yes, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, like, share the content, do subscribe, hit the notification bell because we are live on this channel typically every Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless it's like the show is X-rated, then we stream a little later. Make sure them kids in the bed. But that's all that I have, you
Hmm.
guys. I'm Doc LQJ, and this is
Yeah.
Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson, where we engage in those difficult discussions, and I hope that you guys are well.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.